10 signs it's time to end all contact, even if it's family or friends. Relationships are supposed to be sources of comfort and stability. They should uplift us, support us, and make us feel valued. But what happens when they don't? When a relationship becomes a source of distress, pain, or emotional exhaustion, it's time to step back and reevaluate its role in your life. Letting go of someone you shared a bond with, whether it's a family member or a longtime friend, is never easy. It's a daunting decision, but sometimes it's necessary for your mental, emotional, and even physical health. Here are 10 key signs that it might be time to say goodbye to a relationship that's no longer serving you. 1. One-sided effort. In any healthy relationship, both people need to put in effort. It's not about keeping score, but there should always be a sense of reciprocity. If you're the one constantly reaching out, making plans, and holding the relationship together while the other person puts in little to no effort, the imbalance will wear you down. One-sided relationships leave you feeling drained, undervalued, and often frustrated. You deserve a connection where your time, energy, and care are reciprocated. If you're always the one carrying the relationship, ask yourself, is this worth the emotional toll? 2. Constant conflict. Arguments happen in every relationship, but if you're stuck in an endless cycle of conflict, it's a red flag. Frequent fights over the same issues, with no resolution, point to deeper incompatibilities. It may mean that one or both of you are unwilling to compromise or prioritize the relationship's well-being over personal pride. These unresolved disputes can severely impact your mental health, leaving you stressed, anxious, and exhausted. If the conflicts feel like they'll never end, it might be time to consider whether the relationship is more harmful than helpful. 3. Resentment and bitterness. When conflict goes unresolved for too long, it breeds resentment and bitterness. Grudges linger, past grievances resurface during every interaction, and it becomes impossible to move forward. Instead of joy or comfort, your relationship becomes defined by tension and negativity. At this stage, even the good moments are overshadowed by the weight of past conflicts. If the environment feels toxic, it's worth asking if this connection is holding you back from living a healthier, happier life. 4. Clashing priorities and values. As people grow, their values, goals, and priorities can change. Sometimes, those changes bring people closer, but other times they create distance. If your life paths are pulling you in completely different directions, maintaining the relationship can feel forced and unnatural. For instance, you might find that what once bonded you, shared interests or goals, has now become a point of contention. When you're constantly clashing over values or priorities, the relationship may no longer serve as a positive force in your life. 5. Lack of communication. When communication dwindles, so does the connection. If your conversations have become surface level or you're avoiding important discussions altogether, it's a clear sign of emotional distance. When deeper concerns remain unspoken, they fester beneath the surface and weaken the foundation of the relationship. This emotional disconnect can leave you feeling lonely, even when you're with the person. Healthy relationships thrive on honest, open communication. If that's no longer possible, the relationship may no longer be viable. 6. Abusive behavior. This is a non-negotiable. Any form of abuse, whether emotional, verbal, or physical, is a clear indicator that the relationship is unhealthy and unsafe. Abuse isn't always obvious. It can show up as manipulation, control, or constant criticism that erodes your self-esteem over time. No matter the history or the excuses, abuse is never acceptable. Staying in such a relationship only prolongs the harm, often with long-term psychological consequences. Your safety and well-being should always come first. If abuse is present, it's time to prioritize yourself and end the relationship. 7. Loss of trust. Trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship. If someone repeatedly lies, betrays your confidence, or lets you down, it creates an unstable and unhealthy dynamic. Living in a state of constant suspicion or insecurity takes a serious toll on your mental health. Without trust, the relationship becomes a constant source of stress. Rebuilding trust is possible, but if the breaches continue, it may be time to step away for good. 8. Emotional disconnection. Feeling emotionally disconnected from someone is one of the clearest signs that a relationship is struggling. This might show up as indifference or a lack of enthusiasm to spend time together. Over time, interactions that should bring joy start to feel like obligations. When a relationship feels more like a burden than a source of support, it's time to ask whether it's worth holding on to. Emotional disconnection often creates a void that no amount of effort can fill. 9. Lack of support. Relationships are built on mutual support. When someone consistently fails to be there for you, especially during your toughest times, it's a glaring red flag. Whether it's offering encouragement, advice, or simply a listening ear, a healthy relationship involves showing up for one another. If the other person is absent when you need them most, it's worth reconsidering their role in your life. 10. Feeling drained after interactions. The people in your life should energize and uplift you, not leave you feeling exhausted, stressed, or unhappy. If you find yourself dreading interactions or feeling emotionally drained after every conversation, it's a sign that the relationship is negatively impacting your mental health. When a relationship takes more from you than it gives, it's a heavy weight that affects every area of your life. The hard truth about letting go, deciding to end a relationship, especially with family or close friends, is one of the hardest choices you'll ever make. It requires deep self-reflection, an understanding of your own needs, and the courage to prioritize your well-being. But here's the thing. Walking away from a toxic relationship isn't an act of cruelty. It's an act of self-care. By letting go, you create space for healthier, more fulfilling connections, relationships that provide genuine support, joy, and mutual respect. The process will be painful. It may bring guilt, sadness, and doubt. But in the long run, prioritizing yourself is always worth it. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need it. For more content like this, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you're navigating difficult relationships, check out our other videos for more insights and advice. Thanks for watching, and remember, your peace and happiness are worth protecting.